Hi, my name is Lily. I'm a freshman in college, and I kind of want to come on here and kind of talk about my college journey. Now, I recently posted a short on my channel here, and it blew up. It got, as of current time, 45,000 views and tons of positive comments just saying thank you for making the video. And I kind of wanted to dive into it a little bit more because I've seen a lot of people sharing their college life stories, just kind of relating to the freshman year of college and how it's not what you expect and all these things. And I kind of want to put my 2 cents out there. So if you're struggling in college, you feel alone in college, I would recommend watching this video because I'm going to go pretty in depth about how my college experiences went so far. To preface this video, I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just simply voicing how it's been. And this is just me being realistic and honest. And you have anything, if you feel personally offended by that, I'm sorry. I'm allowed to voice how my life and college life has been so far, but I'm not trying to bash anybody doing so. So I was always bent on going to one college. There's one college my whole life I want to go to. Now, I want to be a veterinarian, specifically small animal, dogs, cats, stuff like that. And so I wanted to go to Purdue. Purdue is a well-known Midwestern veterinarian college. It's very hard to get into, very competitive. Any vet school is, and that was the one I was always bent on going to. Now, vet is 8 years, 4 years, like prerequisites, learning what you need to know, and then 4 years actually being the vet, learning surgeries, things like that, internships. And so my whole life wanting to be a vet, I understood that it would take me a really long time to get to that end goal of getting that DVM certificate, of getting my own practice and operating on clients and just doing what I've always wanted to do. And so I always wanted to go to Purdue. I was always bent on going to Purdue. I met my boyfriend my junior year of high school, not college. And he wanted to be a music teacher. He wanted to be like a band director. And also want to march in DCI, which is like basically professional marching band. If you really want to go down that route, that's kind of the simplified way that I look at it. And I had no problem with that. I was like, sure, if that's what you want to do, right? And he wanted to go to a certain school, he wanted to go to Ball State for his music education because Ball State's a very well-known Midwestern like art school. They have a very good music program, vocal program, art program. They're very well known for this like architecture as well. They're more the artsy fartsy kind of school. They have more art stuff, and that's where he wanted to go. And I was looking into Purdue for my first 4 years. It was gonna be very expensive, right? Because it's obviously a higher institution. It's kind of the vet school. The architecture is kind of the agricultural school. They have a lot of agricultural stuff, and so to apply to Purdue, you had to write like an essay, right? I was working on my essay and I was just like, you know what? I really don't want to go to Purdue for 8 years. I kind of want to switch up my college experience. And so I was looking into all different kinds of colleges. I looked into like a private college. I looked into Ball State, and I looked into, some nearby closer at home schools like Ivy Tech and stuff like that. And I stumbled across Ball State and I really liked it. And I kind of looked at it. Now this is where my boyfriend was going, right? And so my best friend went to Purdue. And she was like, where are you going to go? And I was like, I really don't want to be at Purdue for 8 years. And also it's going to be a lot of money. That's a lot of my parents because they're paying my college tuition, right? And so I applied to Ball State. I got in. And then I went on a tour there. And I truly felt so welcomed on campus. It's a beautiful campus. That's something I still love about it to this day. And I went on my tour there because my school required you to go on at least one tour before you like made a college decision. So I went on a tour at Ball State, and I loved it there. I loved the campus. I loved the environment. People seemed so welcoming there. And I submitted my deposit and said I want to go to Ball State. Now, Ball State does have a pre-vet program, so that's kind of why I also want to go there. It was always one of my options because, like I said, when I applied for my FAFSA, I got a lot of money to go to Ball State than I would have gotten for Purdue. And so I decided to go to Ball State. I was like, my boyfriend's gonna go there. It's like really close to home. So that's kind of where I ended up going. And I met this girl on like the roommate finder thing because I didn't know anybody. Obviously you can't room with your boyfriend. They don't really approve of that. And her and I met and we decided we were gonna room together. We talked like every day. We met up a couple of times, stuff like that. She's a different major than me. So I was placed in a different building than my major was, but I was next door to my boyfriend's building. So that was really convenient for me. And so I move in there. And I really liked my dorm. I honestly did. I liked, I'm not used to sharing a room with anybody else. I'm an only child. And so that was kind of difficult for me at first, but eventually you get accustomed to it because, you know, you're in class or you're at your boyfriend's or you're busy. You don't really run into each other too much. And the longer I was there, the more I just didn't really like the environment that I was in. I'm not really going to dive into detail about that because it's not necessary. I just slowly did not like my environment for long. Now that includes everything in there. I just slowly did not feel very welcomed in there, and I would kind of go out of my way to avoid my own dorm, which is never a feeling that you want to feel. You know what I mean? And it was getting to the point where my mental health was deeply affected by my environment, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And I think around like October or September maybe, I received an email being like, hey, there's single rooms available if people want to rent them out, like a double room uses a single room. And the moment I got that email, I called my mom and dad because we were discussing maybe trying to find a way to move out. And they were like, apply for it, apply for it, apply for it. It wasn't too much of a financial difference than what I was already paying for the room I was currently in. And so my parents really pushed for me to move to this dorm. So you had to have a very legitimate reason, and I am diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and I'm on medication for it. So I brought up my mental health. I pulled the mental health card. I'm sorry, I did, okay? And so I pulled the mental health card, sent out an email. I think I was like one of the first ones to probably reach out. And then about a week later, they replied back to me and told me they had a room available for me. I started crying. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Like, oh my goodness. I mean, I was sobbing. I called my parents. I told them the good news. And then, so I found out on a Monday. And then we planned on moving out that Friday. So my boyfriend was at marching band. He marches for Ball State. He's in the marching band. And so I hunted my boyfriend down after practice. And I was like, babe, I got the room. And he was like, no way. And I was like, way. And I was praying about this for so long. I was like, God, let this be your will, not my own. But Lord, just give me a sign. What do I do? And then that's when I received the email. So my family was praying for a sign because it was really affecting me. I was crying like every night. I'd cry myself to sleep. I missed my family so badly. I'm just I'm a homebody. I'm always home. Even if I'm just rotting in bed, I'd rather be home. And it was just really taking a toll on my mental health, and it was just getting so bad. I would get out of bed and I would just not even do a full face of makeup. Sometimes I wouldn't even wash my face. And I'm a makeup girl. I like to do full face every day. I mean, I'm literally in sweats right now and I have full face makeup, you know. It was just so bad. And I look back on that time and it really just breaks my heart because I was struggling so bad. And I so badly wanted to get out of the situation I was in. I just didn't know how. But the Lord blessed me with an opportunity to move out. And so I found out that Monday, told my boyfriend, my family, my mom called off work, and we planned to move out that Friday. And so I had a friend secretly come over and help me start packing stuff up when my roommate wasn't home because I really did not want to tell her that I was moving out. At this point, we were not talking at all. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to tell her. It's really not that big of a deal. She's probably going to like it more when I'm gone. And so we secretly packed out my stuff, you know, the miscellaneous things I wouldn't be using the entire week, and moved it to my new dorm. My new dorm was about 15 minutes away from me, maybe 10 minutes, depends on how fast you walk. So it was closer to my classes, which was so much more convenient for me, but obviously I was a little bit farther away from my boyfriend. But his classes were right by my new dorm, so he would just kind of come over whenever he could. So we got my stuff kind of moved. We, you know, made bunk beds, we did the furniture, we did all that, just me, my boyfriend, and my friend. So we took a couple of nights during the week to get that prepared. So when that Friday rolled around, I would just be able to move out. And so Friday morning came. I already have some stuff moved out. My room was ready just to be moved into. We already did the furniture and everything. I did my 8 a.m. lab that I had to go to, and I got out early. My mom picked me up. We went to my room and started packing. Started getting carts. We started packing. Got everything loaded up in probably 30 minutes because we were just ready to get out of there, right? And there were some girls across the hall that were seeing me move out. It was kind of obvious. I'm going to be honest. It was very obvious. And they got a hold of my roommate. My roommate got a hold of me and said, hey man, you moving out? And I said, yep. And then that was all. Didn't talk to her anymore, deleted her contact. I'm done, right? No hard feelings, just I want to move out. And so I moved out, got moved into my new dorm. My new dorm that I lived in was a nursing, like a health community, which I'm a biology major with a concentration in like animals. So that guess kind of worked out for me more for the better because it was more my people. And the thing I'm really going to emphasize is I've truly struggled with my mental health my entire time I've been in college. I've posted TikToks about it and some shorts about it and talked about it in some videos that I've just really been struggling, truly. And now I've struggled with my mental health my entire life, so this is not something I was like, you know, phased by. I've always struggled and I always will struggle. And that's something I've had to kind of accept, you know. Now I have my faith, I am a Christian, and so that helps me a lot, but that doesn't mean I don't struggle, right? I get very upset when Christians say that like you're not supposed to struggle with mental health, and that if you do, like you're taken over by the devil. And it's like, I have prayed, I am a Christian, like I struggle. No one's perfect, you know what I'm saying? There were some Christian friends that I used to be friends with, used to is the key word here, that would just lash out at me because I had mental health struggles, but I was still a Christian. And it's like, there was one girl that goes to Ball State, by the way. I don't talk to her. I purposely avoid her on campus. She used to tell me that, like, if I was a true Christian, I wouldn't be struggling with my mental health. And I was like, that's not how that works. But anyways, I got moved into my new dorm. Had nothing to do with my old roommate, any of my old people that I used to live by, but I did stay in the group me just because I was curious how it was going. Got accustomed to my new dorm, and I love it. I love living on my own. But the entire time I've been in college, I've truly been so lonely. And I did post a TikTok about that. I did post shorts about that. That did blow up. Love you guys. Thank you for the support on that. But I've been so lonely in college, and I have no shame in admitting that and talking about that because it's something I've truly struggled with, but also I'm trying to accept. Now at my old dorm, it was the kind of loneliness where there's people around you, but you still feel so lonely. That's exactly how I felt. I had people surrounding me, people who would even talk to me, and I felt so lonely because it wasn't a true kind of like talking with you. It was just kind of fake, you know, you could tell. And I just felt so alone, and I just was just so low, and I can't even dive into it because it's just so difficult for me to talk about. But and then when I moved to my new dorm, it was a different kind of loneliness. It was just like, I'm all alone. I really only have my boyfriend on campus. He's kind of the only person I have, and I never want to force him to deal with me, to only hang out with me. That's just not how I am. And so I didn't care when he hung out with his buddies, you know what I mean? I want him to have a social life outside of me. And I can't tell you how many nights I just sit my dorm on my phone all by myself, watching TikToks, playing Roblox. And I am trying to incorporate more filming about my loneliness because it's real, it's raw, and it's something that I am truthfully going through, is being lonely and doing stuff on my own because, hey, you can still have fun on your own. And it's very difficult for me to film those TikToks, but I also want people to know it's okay. So I just like to show myself doing stuff on my own because I like to see stuff like that, where people are vulnerable like that. I believe in vulnerability and showing your emotions, and that's how I convey to other people that it's okay, is when I show me doing it. That doesn't mean I'm not struggling behind the camera, but I like to film it for other people. And my parents watch my TikToks, and so many of my family does, and you know, they always want to see my stuff. And my parents are very sad that I'm so lonely in college, but also my entire life I've never had friends. I've always been a loner. I've never had a true best friend. Every best friend I thought loved me and was my best friend always betrayed me. So I've always been betrayed by people I've loved. And so deep down inside of me, I don't trust people. I don't want to trust people. I want everybody to go away because I don't trust you. People have hurt me in the past, and that's caused me to have really bad trust issues. This is gonna sound so cringy. I like self-identify with characters that are like that. So like the first three I can think of, Dean Winchester, okay? I self-identify with that dude. Katniss Everdeen, bro. I literally have a Hunger Games poster right over there. And Tony Stark, of course. Those are my main three that I literally self-identify with. This sounds really cringy, but I'm a really big fangirl. And it's made college very difficult to just kind of push everybody away because I don't trust you. You have to earn my trust. And sometimes I can trust people and they can break that trust, and that takes me a very long time to earn that back. And I also just don't like myself. I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of times I just hate myself, and I just wish I was different, wish I had more friends, wish I was more approachable. I just don't, I'm not socialized. I don't socialize. Like, I just want everyone to stay away from me. I want my dog. Like, my dog's like literally right here, right next to me. Aren't you, baby? You probably hear him chewing on his toy. He's on my bed with me. But I go home every single weekend because that's just how I am. I'm a loner. I've never found my group of people before. I've went to clubs. I've went to on campus like Christian groups, and I just have not felt at home. I've not felt connected to anything. And so the main purpose of this video is to kind of talk about it's okay to feel alone. It's okay to not feel like you found your place. As of today, the day I'm filming this video, if I can get this to load, it's Sunday, November 23rd, and I have still not found my group of people. I've still not found my true home on campus, and a part of me doesn't expect to. College is a lot like high school for me. In high school, I had no friends, and that's exactly how I feel in college. But in college, it's kind of more normalized because you see tons of people walking around with no friends and walking by themselves. And I love to do stuff on my own. There's videos on my channel where I just go do stuff by myself, go shopping by myself, go get coffee by myself. I'm used to being alone, but that doesn't mean it gets better as time goes on. And so I guess, I don't know, I'm just kind of normalizing being alone. I don't know, I kind of rambled, but it's just been really hard to be away from my family, from my parents, from my home. It's weird when I come back on the weekends and drive by my old high school because my boyfriend lives right across the street from my old high school. And it's weird to see everybody, how it's changed when I come home and how the weather is different and how the Christmas lights are now up and they weren't when I was home last. And I feel like I'm missing so much at home because I'm the only child. So I'm kind of my parents' like main source of communication. And it's just been really struggling with loneliness and my mental health. I don't go to therapy anymore, but I am on pills, and so, you know, I hate college, but I love it. I love getting to pursue my education, to be the vet I've always wanted to be, to, you know, I'm on the first step to being there. I'm starting out, but I also just want to skip to the end and have it be over with. But obviously, the journey is kind of what you have to go through to get there. So I'm sorry this is kind of rambling. I just kind of want to be realistic and unedited. So I love you guys. I hope this helps some of you realize it's okay to be alone in college, and I love you. Bye guys.